Oh, I feel very lucky. Nice. Reckon that might be a bite then. No, this is on the pop-up. No. Right then, well, welcome to another video. I am almost back out on the bank. The gear is out of the van, but I've got a couple of fields to make my way through before I am officially on the bank, I won't lie. Now, we're back up at Shaun's Forgotten Pond, somewhere he did loads of times as a kid and has done a couple of sessions recently. Not the same for me. I've only fished it once before for a couple of hours, and similar like this, we've got a couple of hours before it gets dark, and yeah, really got to make the most of it. So he's dragging his heels as always. He's half an hour, 45 minutes away. Time never seems to go down. So I've decided to crack on. So got the kit, like I say, going to make a way up to the lake, couple of fields, dodge a few cows, and let's see if we can put one on the bank before Shaun even arrives. So let's get on with it. Well, this looks a little bit wet. Ooh, interesting. Let's try and not lose the welly. I'm sure you'll agree though, what a mega setting for a little lake. Oh yes. Come on, let's make it happen. The one time I have been here, this was absolutely flooded with cattle manure and obviously some rainwater. So yeah, that was a bit easier than last time. Nearly went wrong. Wind's pushing in here. Yeah, potentially let's go for a bite. I haven't seen anything. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? But yeah, I haven't seen anything yet, but I reckon don't need to fish too far out and see how we get on. Right, let's get the rods out, see if we can have one before Shaun arrives. Plan of action to start off with is I'm going to put one small little 12mm pop-up out, so that's going to be a little pink one, and one little PB wafter, so that's a yellow one. Just, you know, cover two different bases, one on the deck, one just slightly popped off the deck. Autumn time, there's loads of leaves, as you can probably see from the footage you'll see. There's absolutely like tons and tons of trees, so that means tons and tons and literally tons of leaves all over the sort of bank, and that's also going to be in the lake, so they're going to slowly sink to the bottom, and that's just going to have that little bit of a chod effect. So sometimes a small little pop-up just sits better, and yeah, means you get an earlier pickup. On both of those I'm going to put a little mesh bag, just some small little cray mix pellet, and yeah, absolutely potent, full of attraction. Over top of that I'm going to put a few scatterings of just you know, probably a handful, 10-15 baits max of some of the 12mm bug boilies, and then hopefully we've just got enough attraction to pick up a bite. Yeah, and like I said, sort of fish for a bite at a time, as we've only got a couple of hours. So if we can get one between us, that'd be an absolute result. Put a fish on the blog, and yeah, happy days. So let's get these rods out in the pond. Right then, well, plan for the first rod is, so this is going to be the little PB yellow wafter. I'm just going to underarm it a few rod lengths out and then just put a small scatter of boilies around it. Well, there we go, we're in peg 7 today. That means any of you that fish it locally. So as always, I like to just wet the top tip eye just to stop any tangles. Nice big drop. Yeah, we're just going to underarm it out. Start off with, that breeze is obviously hacking into here, so fingers crossed the fish have moved on it. Oh yeah, it's not a bad bit of depth there either. It's probably got to be, I'd say like 7 or 8 foot. There is an old stream bed that runs down the middle of this lake somewhere. I think it's slightly over this side actually. Like I said, I've only fished it once, so I'm talking like I know what I'm on about, but as with most of my fishing, I don't. Right then, well, the plan is, as Shaun has just turned up, plan for rod number 2 is, I'm going to try and fish it down to my left a bit more. So firstly, let's see if we can knock them out with the lead, because that would be hilarious. I unfortunately don't have very much casting room here, so it could be a little bit interesting. Right then, so plan for rod 2 is, I've just flipped the lead over to the far bank, so you probably can't pick it up on the camera, but the line is tight and in the air. So I've just clipped on my hook link, obviously with my little mesh bag of pellet, and then the plan of action is I'm just going to lower it into this sort of near margin. Now thankfully Shaun's just turned up, something I never thought I'd say, thankfully Shaun's there, but so he's obviously managing the other rod, which is nice. And then yeah, I can just underarm this in. And the nice thing about this is I can obviously be really accurate where I place it, but also with the bait that I'm putting over the top. So I'm going to drop that in there. Lovely. Chuck the line up that way. And I'm just going to squeeze these ever so slightly as well, just so they release a bit more traction. And just scatter these along these reed lines, so if there's any fish coming along it, hopefully they pick up the bait. And obviously in the end they're then going to find a hook bait. Right then, so just getting back round to the rod, which is obviously now really slack line. So we can now just reel in the slack. We run that back from the fingers. Good. So now we've got straight contact with the rig. Sink the line. Because I'm fishing to those reeds, I'm going to fish a bit more of a tighter line than I am on the other rod. Just loosen that clutch off a little bit. Happy days. Rod number 2 is also fishing. And that might be a bite then. Only been fishing about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, something like that. Putting up a great little account for itself in the margin. Lovely playing fish in the sun in November. Oh, lovely little comment. There we go, fish number 1 in the net. Right then, well I just wanted to show you this because this fish is absolutely nailed. Absolutely nailed. Testament to the rig. I'll be daft to ever change this rig, it's done me so well since moving over to it. And it is the simplest of rigs. Right then, well there's the little common that picked up that rig. Nice to be off the mark on a few hours session, and we'd only been fishing probably 25 minutes or so when this one went rattling off. So happy days, we'll slip it back, the rod's already back out, and fingers crossed it's Shaun's turn. I don't really mean that. I want another one. We're both thinking what's going on here, mate, I know.
Great return. Look at that shot. Going out backwards. It's going to get flopped over the end. What are you doing?
Ready?
Yeah, I've been ready for 10 minutes.
Right then, well now we've just slipped that fish back. I thought we took you through the rig I was using. So it's a little wafter rig, about 8 inches of ESP tungsten loaded hook link. I've got a little sort of sinker in the middle there, a size 4 shot. I prefer to use shot than pussy just because it's much easier to use. I use a size 4 for wafters and a size 2 shot if I'm using a little 12mm pop-up. Got about 1 inch of shrink tube in there, and that's a liner style, so coming out just a couple of inches before the end, and that just makes a much more aggressive hooking pattern. And I've found since using it, I'm hooking the fish further back, which is always a good thing, less hook pulls. That's down to a size 4 ESP gripper. I've got a small bit of silicone on there, and then a yellow PB wafter from DNA, and that's the fish that, sorry, that's what the fish took a liking to. And we're probably going to get another one of these out on the second rod and see if we can make one bite into 2.
Right then, so I've just got to the lake. Hugh got here before me. First thing I want to do is just spread a few baits in, get a little bit of food out there, try and get some fish looking around before I chuck out some hook baits. So I've got some 18 millers in here which have actually been dusted. They've been glugged up and then dusted. The dusting adds a little bit of attraction. There's some krill meal that DNA do, but actually it makes it a lot easier to chuck them out. You might be able to see I've got hard-only kit, nice and compact. Most of it's the Avenger kit, Avenger bag, compact chair, and also the beanie mat. It's all lovely and compact. Sorted. Right, that's the rig down. Simple lead clip, 3-ounce lead. I've got a D-rig on there, little snowman, DNA bug, bottom bait, little mesh bag of Maxi Cream Mix, and then give it a spray with a bit of liquid and flick it out. Nice. And that's just out where that little bit of bait was. I've just got a single rod rest. And I just lean him on there. Right, rod number 2 going out. Hugh's already had a fish. That's a nice little result.
So Hugh is on the score sheet then. He actually had a take before he'd even got a rod in the lake, so fair play to him, and it's already back in the pond and the rod's back fishing, so nice and efficient. And you do need to be on these short sessions, so fair play. I'm sure he's in with a chance of another one, but I have eventually got my rods out now. Been fishing about 10 minutes, so fingers crossed the fish comes in and has a little look around and we can have one. But very simple fishing today, so you probably noticed we're on the forgotten pond. I was up here last time fishing solid bags, had a bit of a problem with the bream. I'm back on the boilies for this session, just fishing my standard coated soft rigs with D-rigs and a couple of little snowman hook baits, and I'm just nicking a little mesh bag of the Maxi Cream Mix onto the hook, spraying it up with a little bit of liquids just to get a bit more traction out there to hopefully get a quicker bite. But the rods are out, like I said, I'm fishing. It's looking good. I've put about 20-25 baits out across the area, spread them out quite a lot over the whole swim, just to try and get those fish moving around. Definitely makes them easier to hook when they're moving around like that on when you're boilie fishing. So anyway, we'll see how we get on. Hopefully we'll be in with a chance of a fish. Hugh's had one, I've got to now play catch up, so let's see if we can get a fish in the net.
Go on, that's a fish. Blake on the far bank's just woken up. That was low, mate, to be fair. Yeah. I saw that twitch before that went, and I thought, God, that looks like someone's just had a look at that, and then bang, off it went.
Nice.
Same rod?
Same. Well, they're both out in a very similar area, so.
Yeah, but is it the same?
No, this is on the pop-up.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so. Yeah, I was about to swap over to another wafter because I've been getting a few liners on this rod and I thought maybe they just ain't fancying a pop-up. Hadn't even got out of the chair and it's gone absolutely racing off, and so yeah, we've had another one. So another lovely little common, this time fell to a pink little bug pink pop-up. Happy days, slip it back, get another one, get the rod back out.
Oh! Rod's away. Oh, it's friggin' dropped off! Oh, what the hell? Ugh. Looks absolutely fine. Oh dear. I was wondering why I hadn't had a bite. I was just walking down the bank to try and get an angle to get some shots with the camera. Rod went ripping off. I thought it was Hugh, so I started walking towards Hugh and then realised it was me. And the fish has dropped off. Perfect.
Well, that didn't really get a plan. Yeah, right hand rod went ripping off, managed to drop that off. I'm in true form, still blanking, which I've been doing a lot of this year, but yeah, I genuinely thought that was Hugh, so I started making my way towards Hugh, only to realise it's my rod going off. So I was walking down a bank and I was going to get a couple of shots looking up this way with the camera, heard a rod go, assumed it was Hugh because he had a couple already, and turns out it was me. Yeah, by the time I got to the rod, it pretty much dropped off, so what can you do? But nice to have a bite, nice to know there's a few fish knocking around the area, so I'm not going to put any more food out there now. I'm going to just fish the rod on its own and see if we can get another bite before going. But as you can probably tell, the light is starting to go down now. We're not going to have much longer left really until it's going to be dark. So we'll fish up till dark and see if we can get another one. But yeah, it's a shame it dropped off, but it was nice to get a bite anyway. So tactics are working. So generally speaking on here, just putting a little bit of bait over the top of a rod, just fishing boilie. It does work really, really well. So yeah, but anyway, I've not really caught anything, but it's such a lovely place to be. It's all lovely sort of colours at this time of year. Lake looks really, really nice, so you can't knock it really. It's a nice place to sit for a few hours on the evening and just sort of chill out a bit. So anyway, hopefully one of those rods goes whacking off again before we go and I can actually catch one. If not, I'm sure Hugh will probably end up catching another one and rubbing that in my face.
Well, this was very close to being a disaster. Oh, I feel very lucky. Oh, it's a good day.
then that's the end of the session. We're back at the vans. Unfortunately, I blanked staying to my form, so you know, can't knock it. But yeah, Hugh managed to pull a cup out of the bag, mate.
I did, happy days. Yeah, admittedly one was before Shaun arrived, so whether you count that one or not, but yes, nice to get a couple of bites in a couple of hours fishing. So temperature's definitely dropped, so yeah, it's always nice to put any size fish on the bank.
Certainly is. So anyway, hopefully you've liked the video. If you have, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and check out the social media that Hugh is pointing at the moment. And until next time, get out on the bank, be lucky.
And as always, enjoy your fishing.
See you in the next one.
Let's go home.